This is not politics. Please don't forget. I'm just practicing to be a poet. Not qualified as yet, but have no fear. I'm gonna get there. I'm not in this world to live up to your expectation. Neither are you in to live up to mine. I don't owe no one, no obligation. No one owes me none, so everything is fine, fine. I said I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. Serious business. There is a time for everything, and for everything there is a season. So man and man must reason. So I think it's prime time that we address some more issues. Simple information I will use. No rocket science to get you confused. So relax your mind, make sure everything is fine, while I take you down a poetic line. Trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. I remember you said.
Good night to Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name's Sheldon Scott. I'll be taking you up until the 10 o'clock hour.
You lose your rightful thinking, so we voted for the bling.
And of course, we are live via our Talking Points website.
Say it is, that's the way it is. We've waited in.
And of course, we are live via YouTube. We're live via Facebook and 92.9 Sister Isle up there in Carriacou. We Noise Radio 94.9.
Answering yellow, yellow, no hello. Teeth get yellow, house get yellow, bus get yellow, man get yellow, even green.
So we say a special good night to you all, the Talking Points family.
With campaign promises.
Those of you locally, regionally, and internationally.
We've waited in.
It is a Friday night. It's a Friday night forum. Let me just say early on, I had intended to have a guest on with me tonight
to go get
to discuss a particular issue. But the events of today, we've decided to change the issues that we were going to deal with tonight. Decided to change.
The yellow vibes to flow.
Today was a day of serious concern here in Grenada.
If we didn't know, we never know yellow would have treated us so. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is.
The amount of things that you were hearing taking place during the day today, I hope the night passes peacefully, yeah?
Refrain. They began with the blame game, giving NNP more fame.
But everything that we've heard for the day, everything that we've seen,
cause of frustration.
I still believe I live in the best country on earth, yeah?
Chief of corruption.
Nothing could change that for me. Grenada is still the best country on earth. It may have the worst government, but it is the best country on earth, bar none. Yeah?
Recession, economic recession, no employment for the ordinary man. When you trick us with campaign
So while we might ask what is going on in Grenada,
that's the way.
Just remember, we are still the best.
Hoping you'll ease the strain.
Nothing can change my mind from thinking that. Nobody could get me to believe otherwise.
Just talking a pipeline.
But we have issues that we need to effectively deal with. Yeah, there are issues of serious concern. They must be addressed, and they must be addressed properly.
Pipeline.
And no, not later, not next year, not the year after. They must be addressed now, yeah?
Oh, soon. Maybe by the next full moon. Although
we want to be sure that if we take our children to the beach, that we are safe and our children are safe, yeah?
Space is just
we want to be sure that if they're passing on a bus, that they don't become a victim of crossfire and that kind of nonsense. We usually don't have to worry about that kind of thing in Grenada. And anybody that tries to change that from being the norm needs to be dealt with, and dealt with immediately, huh?
You now refrain.
Not gonna allow them to drag our country down like we see happening with some other islands and some other countries. No, we're not gonna allow them to drag our country down like that, huh?
1,000 Frenchmen can never be wrong, but you hold your yellow conviction strong, strong, strong. So
Saying it big and bold, we live in the greatest country on earth.
and rehire the Imanis, less stress on the economy.
We may have the worst government, yeah? Incompetent as possible. The Minister of National Security needs to be fired, yeah? The Minister of National Security, the security advisor, they need to be fired. Nice, yeah.
But you now refrain,
No if, what, or but about it, they needs to go, yeah?
Can't digest that one. Remember the man say he's an asset to the party, and will we vote you without he? You left him with Glenn alone. Maybe they cloned. And however, I foresee a pretensive unity that will mislead a lot just before the next ballot. But you guys will have to come
Yeah, me a mixing, me a matching, and saying it exactly as it is. They need to go. Leave. Get out. Yeah? You need to, yeah, the Minister of National Security had to go, man. You can't have this kind of thing taking place in the country, and you ain't hearing no statement, you ain't hearing no nothing from the government. I mean, come on, man. What kind of Minister of National Security you are there? Huh? Nah, man. We need to hear from the Minister of National Security. We need to. Yeah, and if we have to demand to, then we demand it. But we need to hear from the Minister of National Security. We cannot have a situation like that existing, and we don't hear from the Minister of National Security. Yeah? We definitely need to. You know what? I'm gonna play something for you all. Let me play what a leader song's like. Let me give you all an example. I'll play it now and I'll play it later again. Let me give you an example of when you hear the kind of things that we have been hearing taking place in our island today. Yeah? Let me tell you what a true leader song's like. Let me give all you an example. Yes, we will give all you an example of what a leader does song like. Let me just fix up my thing here and let me move my thing there. Nice. Let me give all you an example.
In moments like these, when the shadow of crime, and in particular gun violence, stretches across our beautiful Grenada, the call for strong leadership echoes louder than ever. It is a call that demands more than just attention. It requires action, empathy, and a steadfast commitment to the values that bind us as a community and a nation. In the gentlest of terms, the silence from our current leaders in the face of a growing wave of violence is worrying. The distressing events that have unfolded in our communities recently serve as a reminder of the crucial need for thoughtful, proactive leadership. This situation is bigger than merely addressing the influx of illegal firearms. It touches on a deeper, more profound understanding that at the core of the managing of the affairs of our country lies the important duty to safeguard the people of our land. Our approach in government should be rooted in the understanding that security is the bedrock of freedom. By securing our borders more effectively, investing in a robust Coast Guard, and more screening at our ports, we could address the issue of gun importation head on, as we have done before. Furthermore, the promotion of police officers based on merit and competence, a policy championed during our time in office, should not be ignored at this time. It should be strengthened, followed, and improved where needed. This is not only necessary to boost morale, it is also about ensuring that our law enforcement is equipped both in skill and spirit to face these challenges. But beyond these measures, we must also turn our attention to the broader picture. Engaging our communities directly in the fight against violence, strengthening our legal frameworks to deter criminal activities, and providing our youth with viable alternatives to violence are critical steps. These are not mere policy points, they are beacons of hope that can guide us towards a safer and more peaceful Grenada. The urgency of now demands that we come together to forge a future where every Grenadian can live without fear. It also demands strong and decisive leadership at the helm of our national security. This is our moment to act, to reaffirm our commitment to peace, security, and the enduring values that define us as a people.
Yes, indeed, folks, and that was a message from the political leader of the New National Party, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. Yeah, former Prime Minister, former Minister of National Security. So in times like these, he understands what's needed. I wonder if anybody in the ruling administration have thought of contacting him and asking for some input in relation to this issue, or any of the members of the opposition party, to see if they can give some guidance, some instruction. Because if you don't know, you have to admit that you don't know. Yeah, maybe it's a case that you don't know. So if you don't know, maybe there are fellows, there are ladies, there are gentlemen who can assist you. And maybe you need to ask for assistance, because we have found ourselves in a very, very serious situation today. Grenada has always been promoted and always been known by the cruise lines, by the yachties that visit Grenada, by our people who have been coming to Grenada. For in some instances, you hear they've been coming since the 1990s, the 1980s. And these individuals have been coming to Grenada every year. There are folks who are in Grenada now that every time winter comes around in North America or Europe or so, they come to Grenada and they stay here for the duration of winter. Yeah? There are people who started doing that in the early 2000s, so they've been coming over 20 years. There are people who've been doing it since the 90s, and even some, if you meet them, they tell you that they have been coming to Grenada since the 1980s. I haven't met any from the 1970s yet. Yeah? But you meet these people, and they tell you, why do they come to Grenada? One, because it's beautiful. Two, because it is peaceful. It is safe. A tourist can feel free to walk any part of Grenada, day or night. And if perchance someone was to try to interfere with them, you're absolutely sure that other Grenadians would step in their defense. Step in and try and assist. Any part of Grenada, they can walk freely, and they do walk freely. So when you hear these sort of things start to happen, and you hear stories of, well, there were many tourists, because we had 2 cruise ships in today. I'm not too sure on the number of visitors that we had into Ireland, but it was a significant number because we had 2 cruise ships in. Outside of that, you also have other visitors who are the ones that come in via plane and so, and those that come in on the yachts and so on that are here in Grenada. And you're telling me that this morning, while some of these people are going through the St. George Market Square, you have gunshot firing? You're telling me that when, and I spoke with a busman, and he was telling me, he said, listen, I had a load of tourists. I brought them down on Grandans Beach. You know, we go down by the vendors mall, he bring them down there. And next thing, gunshots start to fire. So the people just grabbed the towel, they grabbed their stuff into the bus and was back onto the boat. So the vendors lost out. Yeah, the busman still get paid because he bring them and then he bring them back. So he got paid still. But you have this situation now, remember. And I think we need to understand that. This is not just because it's not that busman alone that happened with. There are several other that will tell you that, yeah, we brought a load of people down there, and when they hear gunshots start to fire, they had to take the people and bring them back to the boat. And when this happens, understand what takes place here. This is the year 2024. There's a thing called social media. This is not 1991 or 1992. When an incident like this happens, unless the international networks take it up, that it remains a localized story, and only the people who saw it or who it affected at that point in time are the ones who could bring that story out when they get back to where they're going. each of those individuals that were affected negatively by the activities of today, they may have social media accounts. If it's not a Facebook page and it's a profile, they may have as much as 5,000 people. Many people have just a 1,000 or a 2,000. Some people just have a 600. But remember, when they put out a message and say, well, I was in Grenada and we had to scamper for safety because shots were firing on the beach that they told us was safe, but we had to leave there and I had to leave with my heart racing because shots were firing on the beach and there was all this action with police officers coming and so on. When each of them put that on their Facebook profile or their Instagram or whatever they're using, that is exposed to every single person that they have connected. So everybody gets a negative image of the island. This didn't happen this happened in the midst of the tourists. 2 sets, because the ones who were in the market, they said they went back to the boat. The ones who were on Grenada at that point in time, even though when I passed by later on, I saw there were several buses down there and there were tourists on the beach and so on. Yeah? So they are creating outside of Grenada a negative narrative in relation to what is taking place here. And that situation needs to be clamped down on, and firmly so. They're not a play thing. This is not about who could dress up in sandals and sash. This is about the safety and security of us as Grenadians. This is about the safety and security of people who we invite and we tell come to Grenada, because we know for a fact we're beautiful. We know for a fact that we're the safest island. We know for a fact that when you come here, you're going to enjoy yourself. And then we have these sort of things taking place. Because I'm pretty sure that the individuals who were involved in that type of altercation, they did not spare a thought to the image of Grenada. They went to do whatever they went to do, and that was their only thinking. We go to do that, or we go to get that person, or we go to create this incident. And that was the only thing that was passing through their mind. So I can't accuse them of thinking, because that is an unthinking act. So this issue cannot be allowed to replicate itself. And folks, remember, this is not the first shooting in that area. Remember, sometime recently there was another shooting in that same vicinity in Grenada. So something is taking place down there that needs to be addressed. So instead of taking special branch and have them following Dr. Mitchell if he going in Grenville, you all taking special branch officers and have them following him, not for his safety, but to Mako where he going. Instead of taking special branch officers and have them following different people who belong to the opposition and who you're trying to keep files on. So you want to know where they're going, who they're talking to, and so on. Instead of using the technology to be able to tap into the communications of members of the opposition, use it to protect the people of Grenada. I know what I'm saying, Instead of using the technology to tap into the communications of members of the opposition, use it to tap in to find out who have the guns. Use it to tap in to find out what may be happening negatively in our country, who might be bringing in the drugs, who might be hiding people that escape. Use the technology. Use your special branch officers for that. But instead of using the special branch officers to protect the people of Grenada, you're using it for your own political ends. So you want to Mako Dr. Mitchell going in Grenville? You have to send a car up there and you detail a person to follow him, make a note of who he talked to, try and get some pictures and video and that sort of thing, and then you have that on file. When you should have been in one of these areas that you raid today, or you should have been in one of the other areas that you all know the elements are, but you're afraid to go there. And I can't be upset with some of the police officers if they are reluctant to go into certain areas. If you are not providing them with the gears to protect themselves, they have a family to go home to, They have little ones that just run when they see them coming and say, look, daddy, Look, mommy, they have children, they have family too. They have husband home that love them. They have wife home that love them. They have mother and father that love to see them dressed in the uniform, looking sharp and proud that they have a son or a daughter that they send out there to protect Grenada. They're proud. But if you don't protect the people that's supposed to be protecting us by providing them with the necessary equipment, first of all, the necessary equipment, and secondly, trying to raise their morale. Hearing they had ceremony yesterday. Hearing they had ceremony yesterday where they give some people rank yesterday. You're not hearing? Yeah? You're hearing that some people get rank last night? Yesterday? Hush, hush. You don't think that's demoralizing some of the officers within the police force? They ain't even getting a rank because of politics. Playing politics with the force. Yeah? We heard last year there were several instances of murders. There were several instances of shootings and that sort of thing that took place last year. There was a promise that there's a National Security Council. We, the people of Grenada, are yet to hear any of the outcomes of the National Security Council. You have a situation like this taking place. You don't even know if your Minister of National Security is on the island. You don't even know if your Minister of National Security is here. You don't even know if your Prime Minister is here. Because they remain silent and mum on these issues. So the Royal Grenada Police Force yesterday, without all that happened today, the Royal Grenada Police Force yesterday was supposed to have a press conference and they were supposed to tell people about what went on with the 3 prisoners that escaped, but maybe they're afraid of the questions that would come. If there are questions that are going to be detrimental to the investigation, all you say is, we cannot answer that question. I'm telling them how to answer. We're sorry, we cannot answer that question at this time because the details that you're looking for will be detrimental to the investigation and possible prosecution of the individuals who are facing charges in this matter. Just write that down, learn it, so when you go into the press conference, you could repeat that, right? Just write it down. So that when you go into the press conference, you could repeat it exactly as I say, okay? If you have a press conference. Right now, yeah, people call it saying, well, probably you need a squad, a specific squad to go and deal with these kind of situations. But I'll say this. I congratulate the men and women of the Royal Grenada Police Force in relation to their quick reaction today. In particular in the Grand Dance area, their quick reaction today. They have not sent out anything official. I haven't seen. Well, as I said, I've been removed from the emailing list for whatever reason, and it has to be political and no other reason. I've been removed from the emailing list of the Royal Grenada Police Force. Yeah, so I have to check their Facebook page to see if I find anything in relation to what has happened, the various happenings today. And let me see there. No, there's no release there. And I think that these individuals have to understand that in the vacuum of information, all sorts of stories start to circulate. And therefore, you have to come out early and say, this is the case. And we cannot speak more in relation to this or that because it is a very sensitive investigation. Just simply come out and say that. But confirm to people that this is fact, this is not fact. Yeah? Just come out and confirm. Look, today, we heard that a body was found in the River Sally area. You're hearing all sorts of stories in relation to it. I wouldn't repeat the stories that I've heard in relation to it. But the fact is that a body was found in the River Sally area. Right? Whether the person died of natural causes, whether there was another reason why the person died, the state at which the person was found, whatever. No details. All I know is that a body was found. Yeah? So, there is an important thing that is not taking place here. It is called communication. Up to now, I am yet to see a photograph from the Royal Grenada Police Force. I'm not seeing it on their Facebook page. When children go missing, when big people go missing, they just put up the picture. When they catch a man with 2 leaf of ganja, and not the Prime Minister. When they catch other man, see the Prime Minister picture up on the Facebook page with the ganja. But when they catch other man with a ganja plant, or they catch other man with a 2 spliff and so, the face does be up on the Royal Grenada Police Force Facebook page. They send out release with the pictures. Yeah? So something is wrong with the hierarchy. Now I know, from what I've been hearing that the commissioner ready to go. I understand. This is a good man. The gentleman is a good man. I'm not saying it. The commissioner is a good man. He's a decent man. Yeah? But there are other elements inside there that messing up the thing. There are other elements in there that messing up the thing. When you're playing politics with promotion. When you want to send man all kind of place because they are perceived to be supporters of the new National Party. You don't know how they vote when they went in the voting booth. You don't know where they put their X when they went in the voting booth. But you perceive that they are supporters of the new National Party. So therefore you take people with specialist training to deal with issues like this. And you put them all over the place to do all sorts of other tasks. When you could have them together in a unit to address concerns like this. Yeah? But who am I to give advice? Who am I to give advice? I can give advice in relation to communication because I could say that your communication is poor. You are not communicating effectively. I was checking some of the websites in relation to the alleged and possible murder of the 2 individuals, the 2 American individuals. And one of the constant things that I was seeing there is that they were saying over and over again, they were saying, isn't there an alert system that we can be alerted when things like this happen? But when the Royal Grenada Police Force sending out thing, what, nearly 48 hours after? Nearly 48 hours after, you're sending out thing of what took place. That you're looking for these individuals. Yeah? Whole week you're hearing about this thing. Yesterday you decided to send out a press release. You didn't decide to face the press so that many of the concerns that Grenadians all over have due to some of what they've been hearing can be addressed. So you could put some things to rest right there. No. Send out a press release. Let it work with that. Yeah? So you had, last night, while I'm sitting in here, I had news agencies from Trinidad contacting me. They were WhatsApping and so, trying to get information on what is taking place in Grenada. Yeah? Right now, you have on NBC News in the US in relation to this issue of the 2 missing tourists. And I still say missing because there is no confirmation that these individuals have died. There's no confirmation. There's everything pointing towards it. But there's... In fact, let me show you the 2 people. These are the 2 people that are missing. Kathy Brandel and Ralph Hendry. Yeah, these are the 2 individuals who are missing. These are the 2 individuals who were on that vessel and are now missing. Yeah? So, Kathy Brandel and Ralph Hendry. So, if the local police won't show you a photo and say, these 2 people are missing, because maybe they might be in some village and they're disoriented, and then you might get to realize that, hey, these are the 2 people that they're looking for. Yeah, so you never know. We might just get lucky like that because they're missing right now. And we hope for the best. We hope for the best. We hope that these people turn up alive. Yeah? We hope that they turn up. And we hope that they turn up alive. So next thing, these 2 people, next thing they're in a village up by you and you just realize, you see, these 2 people were in the area there or something like that. Yeah? At least they could have put some photos out and given you the name of the individuals. Yeah? So those are the two individuals that are presently missing. Yeah? And the article goes on to say, our hearts are saddened for veteran cruisers Kathy Brandel and Ralph Hendry, who may have met an untimely end while sailing in the Caribbean. Sincere condolences are extended to their family and friends during this tragic time. According to the Caribbean Compass magazine, Kathy and Ralph had sailed Simplicity in the 2023 Caribbean Rally from Hampton, Virginia to Antigua and were spending the winter cruising the Eastern Caribbean. The Salty Dog Sailing Association, of which they were members, has a live members tracking map where boats can be followed as they cruise, and Simplicity's track shows that Kathy and Ralph were anchored in Grenada and then the boat moved directly to its last anchorage off St. Vincent. Executive Director Taja Hopman of the SDSA, that's the Salty Dog Sailing Association, was alerted by a cruising skipper that a member's yacht, Simplicity, was anchored and abandoned off a beach on the south coast of the Caribbean island of St. Vincent. The Good Samaritan had boarded the boat and noted that the owners, Ralph Hendry and Kathy Brandel, were not on board and found evidence of apparent violence. The Good Samaritan contacted the St. Vincent Coast Guard, alerting them of the situation. They in turn notified the local police. The Coast Guard took possession of Simplicity, and the St. Vincent and the Grenadines police are currently investigating with the U.S. Embassy and the Grenada Police Department. Shortly after the incident was reported to police, news came out that 3 dangerous inmates had escaped from a Grenada prison and were at large. It was speculated that the escapees boarded Simplicity. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, let me just get it here. Yeah. St. Vincent and the Grenadines police have since reported that the 3 Grenadian suspects had been detained. Yeah? And the comments are very, very upsetting. Very, very upsetting. Yeah? To those of us that may not even have known them, it's very, very upsetting. And yet still, when you're listening to hear from your government, you're listening to hear what they have to say, not just the police, but reassurance or affirmation that something is taking place, that they have a National Security Council in more than just name, that they are actually doing something. Crickets. Yeah? It's like a crickets that you're hearing. But you ain't nothing. So you can't even say, well, yeah. Folks, we open the phone lines. It's 8:41. We're going to open the phone lines. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. And on another note, remember our good brother Wayne Noel. Yeah, Wayne Noel, Turkey. And he has to do his dialysis. So remember, Nexa Credit Union and account number 211093. That's 211093 at the Nexa Credit Union. So that's brother Wayne Noel. And you can check Nexa Credit Union, whether it's at $10, $100, or $150, whatever that you can put there to help brother Noel, help him. Yeah? Because he needs to do his dialysis. Not only his dialysis, outside of the dialysis, that's quite a significant sum. There's specific medication that he has to take as well due to the fact that he's on dialysis. There's a specific diet that he must stick to. He can't go left or right. You have to stick right on that diet. So he needs help. Yeah? So those of us that can, if we could put a look at whatever it is, you may have an account at Nexa Credit Union and you could link and you could put over something, do it. Yeah? However it is, you're passing in tongue on Monday, you have a little something, you want to pass in Nexa Credit Union and you say you want to put this on that account, 211093 for Wayne Noel. Yeah, make sure and do that. All right, folks. As I said, we're going to open the phone lines. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. Yeah, those are the numbers for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. You also heard, we have been hearing, that at least, and I'm telling you what I've heard, the police need to verify that. The police need to verify whether or not what we've heard is correct. So I've heard that 3 firearms have been recovered today. 1 down in the south and 2 in town. So I've heard that firearms have been, that they've got, the police are doing their work, that they've got firearms. Nice. I don't know if they've detained anyone. I saw that an individual was detained down in this, well, at least it seemed as though they were detaining an individual down in Grenada, but nothing has come out from the police. Maybe they're waiting until talking points finish tonight to put it out. Or they're trying to put it out on Saturday. You could put it out on Saturday. You could put it out on Sunday. You could put it out 12 o'clock tonight. We still talking about it on Monday. So it don't make a difference. Whether we talk about it tonight or we talk about it on Monday, we will talk about it. Yeah? Get your act together. Get your act together. We have competent men and women in the ranks of the Royal Grenada Police Force. There are good men and women in the RRU, in the SSU. Yeah? Well, I ain't too sure about Special Branch these days, because if I could make out when they're following me, all you need to really do some training with them guys and them kind of thing. All you should do some training. Yeah, do some training with them or some kind of thing. Yeah, not me alone, other people picking up who they are. Right? So all you probably need to do some training. And don't think that the ones all you pass in the local training course there and all you bring out as police officers and all you putting them in Special Branch, that we know them too. So that is a waste of time. Use them to go to different places and find out who the criminal elements are. That is what you need to focus on. Yeah? So, yeah. Because I'm hearing 3 firearms. I hear 1 in Grenans. I hearing 2 on 4 Road because there was a raid on 4 Roads. I was hearing about an incident on Cemetery Hill. You're hearing about these things. And I'm saying, speculation will rule when you do not provide information. So in the vacuum that's there, something had to fill it. So people hearing things. So you hear they find dead body in River Sally. You know how much thing they're saying about this body that they find in River Sally? As I said, I wouldn't repeat it here. Because I believe this person has a family. The person has a family. It's not up to me to even call the person's name. Yeah? Even if I may know the name, that is not my job, not to call the name. Suppose they have family that's in the US or outside of Grenada, or even here in Grenada that's listening, and I go and call the name and cause a heart attack with the people, so I strip it in. Even if I know the name, I ain't calling it. Because there's a process. You need to contact the family need to contact other family members, and so, right? And then there has to be an autopsy. Unless it's plain and it's open signs of something happened, then there needs to be a certain process that has to go through before you verify the cause of death of the individual. Because sometimes what may seem to be something may end up being something totally different, right? So it is important for us to be told what is taking place. So I don't know when they're waiting to put out the press release, or if they put it out and I ain't get it because, as I say, I'm off the list. We have a caller on the line. Good night.
Hey, good night, Brother Sheldon.
Hi, good night.
Brother Sheldon, under this present government, Grenada is in big trouble. In big trouble. Every week, there's a scandal. Look at today, what happened in town. In the market, guns find in the heart of the market where people are selling to make a living. Well, understand, while the police was looking at the situation in the market, they get a call, gun shot in Grenada, the other rush on the Brother Sheldon. Where are the Minister of National Security? And we have saying before, Brother Sheldon, he was in Minister of Finance and he make a mess. Security again, more mess again, Brother Sheldon. Brother Sheldon, scandal every week. You have millions of dollars wasted on independence celebration while people paycheck late. school feeding programs in shambles, the healthcare in a mess, the cost of living high high and stress is skyrocketing. When I look at the situation, like people pressure is getting high. You get high as cost of living because of the hardship and the uncaring of this present government. I want the government, if they can't handle the situation, resign. Resign. If they want to resign and they need help, I do believe the NMP party willing to work together with them for the peace and safety of our country. But actually, when this thing happening, it brings fears, it brings panic upon the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, and makes things worse. It affects the tourism sector in the country. I could be calling upon the Prime Minister. He is the one responsible for national security. Come out, have a press conference. Let the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique know what your plan that you have for the peace and security of our nation, to remove the fear from the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Even foreigners are coming here, they might afraid to come in Grenada, because when you have tourists in the country and in the heart of in town, where they go and share going up, that brings scare and fear to the people of Grenada, even foreigners. So, but I shouldn't have about this.
All right, thank you. 4407377. That's 4407377. That is the number for you to call and get onto the inside. You see, Grenada ended up making the news for all the wrong reasons. Yeah, all the wrong reasons. So, NBC News in the United States, 2 Americans believed dead after 3 Grenadian escapees hijacked their yacht, police say. And there's the story by David K. Lee and Abigail Williams. So there's the story in NBC News in relation to the accusation of what has taken place. And also, let me see, there's the, CBS News has also taken up that story as well. Yeah, so that needs to be, come on. Yeah, there needs to be some sort of dealing with this issue. Yeah, there needs to be some sort of communication strategy. Yeah, let me put it like that. There needs to be a communication strategy. How are we going to effectively speak to the Grenadian public? There is a lot of anxiety out there. There's a lot of anxiety out there. Yeah? There are some people that close up the place and they go and think because they anxiety. The yachties. Did anybody think that maybe it's important to have a meeting with that sector of people? Because other than that, some of them may say, well, Grenada isn't safe, best we just pull up anchor and go. Because, remember, they had to buy no plane ticket, They just pick up anchor and they go to another island. They go across the Barbados, they go up one of the other islands, they go to one of the French territories or whatever, they just pick up anchor and they're gone. Yeah? We have to have consideration of how people are feeling, their emotions. Yeah? We have a call online. Good night. Hello, good night.
Good night, Senator Scott. Good night, man.
Yeah, good night,
I'm
bro.
Listening to, it is frightening, boy.
Well,
it is frightening. When it take talking points to come out to say certain things, and we haven't heard from the police, we haven't heard from the government. You understand? Where is the Deputy Prime Minister? Is the Prime Minister not there? Someone have to come forward from the government, to put the temperature down. We're not sounding good. The rest of the world, all media, have this thing going on now, Sheldon.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be careful. We have to be careful. We have to do better than that. Where the Grenada government? Why it take you, to come out and say something? We must do better than that. That's not sounding good. We outside here in the diaspora, we're fighting for what we're hearing. You understand? In the first place, some of them men escape, the Coast Guard also be on alert. Because we know men does run up to St. Vincent, run the Carriacou, run somewhere. You understand? And we fail to do that. You know? Because that's what we're going to want. The borders in Grenada, you know how the borders is. Men that's trying to escape easy. Last time one gone Trinidad. You understand? Let's think about it. And you're always taking you, I don't know, maybe you is the head of the government. Because you have to say something, and then 2 days later, you hear they come forward with something. Come on, man. You got to do better than that. Have a good one, Sheldon.
All right. Thank you so very much, my brother. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. And well, there's another one again. Yeah, ABC News now. ABC News have taken that up as well now. So yeah, now it's on ABC News, right? So they've got a story on this issue as well. Let me just move that out of the way here. Commodity Place Day, right? So there's another story out there. This one is written by who? Anselm Gibbs, Ellie Kaufman, and Ivan Piera. Yeah, so there's another story that's there on CBS News, NBC News, and CBS News. And from the government of Grenada, crickets. Yeah, we've said it here several times. There is an absolute absence, not lack of, there's an absolute absence of a thing called emotional intelligence when it comes to this administration. They are unfeeling. They don't care how people feel. Yeah? So they can threaten to bulldoze as much property as possible. A hearing that when it comes to the people in La Colombe, they're saying they're going to regularize the people there, not even sure what they mean. If they mean they're going to have to pay for the land that the houses are on, that they're going to have to start to pay taxes and so on. They're not even sure what's going on. We have a caller online.
Hello, good night.
Good night, my dear.
I think the Minister of National Security should resign.
I believe so as well, my dear. I agree with you a million percent.
So, because all crime, all kind of thing is taking place in the country, and you're not hearing the Minister of National Security come in and say anything. But he said in a clip I heard that he's not responsible for the guns that in the island. He can't do nothing about it. So people will do anything, because if the Minister of National Security can't do anything, then people feel that they could do anything in Grenada and get away with it. So that's my opinion tonight.
Thank you so very much. Thank you very much, my dear. Yeah, and it's not a woe is me situation, because I'll tell you something. Grenada, let me repeat it for those of you that are just joining. Let me repeat it to you all, because I wanted to go out there to the world that's listening, to all Grenadians at home and abroad. Know that Grenada is the best country on earth. We have a little problem. We have to deal with the problem before the little problem becomes a bigger problem. We have competent people. Yeah, you have competent people. We have very, very competent men and women in the Royal Grenada Police Force that could deal with this. SSU had the place locked down today. RFU, they walk in. Give them the incentives. Give them the equipment. Give and focus correctly. We live in the best country, but if we are not careful, we're going to end up in problems. What system is being put in place that when police officers are aware that an individual has escaped, that they are able to provide pictures? The Royal Grenada Police Force, after how long, send out pictures. One picture look like they snap it while the guy is sitting inside the police station, like somebody take the phone and snap him. The two other pictures look like they take it off Facebook. So you're telling me that the Royal Grenada Police Force do not have on their files pictures of the individual's front profile, right, left profile, and right profile? that they don't have pictures like that they could have put out, so that even if somebody see one of these people passing in a vehicle or a bus and you see them by the side profile, that it might cause you to take a second look and realize it's the person. No, they go on Facebook profile and they pull pictures. So you telling me that what happened? They don't have the equipment to take the photographs? Do they not have the equipment? Communication. Go and find a Troy Garvey or a Brenda Batista or one of them who understand communication. If all they need help, they go help. They wouldn't charge all you a cent. Find a Shoma Wells where she dey. Find one of these people who understand communication. Yeah? And ask for help. Let them put together a proper communication strategy that you all can get proper information out effectively in the shortest space of time. Don't leave it to a situation that fellas escape and the fellas probably in St. Vincent already by the time all is said and out are released with the pictures. That up to this day, Friday, we still cannot see a picture of the one that escaped in Grenville. What we supposed to go and do? Look for your Facebook profile? Suppose we get somebody with the same name. Suppose fellas in a village hear the name and they go and they look on Facebook and they find somebody that have the same name as he. They see the person and they go and they take rope and tie the person and beat them until the police come. Who's going to be responsible? Yeah? We have a call online. Let's go to the phone line. Hello, good night.
Hello, good night.
Hi, good night. Go right ahead, bro. You're live.
Hey, Sheldon, good night. Good night, Talking Points family.
Yeah.
Two quick things. Noticing from watching the videos with the incident in Grenada today, I'm seeing that there are civilians getting involved in the police business when the police is doing their job. This seems to be a trend that is happening all over the Caribbean and in the wider world also. And we're taking this thing and making it a practice here. When police is doing their job, let them men do their job. Right? We see we have 3 escapees and allegedly they committed worse crime than what they were initially charged for. When the police is doing their job, people please, civilians, stay away, let the police do the job. Everyone is presumed innocent until they are proven guilty in a court of law. Let the law take its course, right? Secondly, this morning I had a chance to listen to the union leader of the GUT, right? And this guy, to me, I just put in my opinion, if bipolar and crazy and narcissist was one person, that is this guy. Because what this guy
hold
the
on.
complaints and he still
hold on, my brother.
Yeah.
What you've just said there is actionable. You have no medical hold on. You have no medical evidence that the person is as such. So please,
my opinion.
Please withdraw the statement. Let me just go good. Yeah, no, your opinion is on my program, so just withdraw it and go.
Yeah, well, I said my opinion. So let me say one thing.
Again, let me distance myself from that statement publicly. I know why. Hold on. Let me distance myself from the statement. I know why. Yeah? And sometimes you have to try and understand. I'm trying to work with you. Try and understand where I'm going from, all right? Nice. So, I told you to withdraw the statement because I'm trying to work with you. So, right. Go ahead now.
Listen what's been happening. Stuff that's happening now without trying to mount a strike action then. So I'm asking the question, why now is he not taking a forceful approach to what is happening now? Because clearly they are disgruntled and they are muzzling them own selves, and to me that is nonsense. If you have a problem, deal with it as you should do as a union leader and stop picking and choosing and picking, because it doesn't make no sense that you come and say one thing, the person one, and then you're lamenting the other one that you don't like. It sounds ludicrous to me. That's the point.
No, don't go yet. But have you noticed something as well with that particular union leader though? He's an apologist. I don't know if he's the one that holding NDC press conferences, because he's nothing more than an apologist for the government. And Lame Sumian saying that. He's an apologist. He's an apologist for the present administration.
I am confused. Because I am working in that system, and hearing this guy this morning, I'll be more confused from what he said this morning to what has been happening.
Well, listen,
that is nonsense.
For the last, I didn't listen to him today. I didn't get a chance to listen to him today because of all that was happening. But I'll
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
you
Well,
this.
anyhow, you folks have a good night.
Yeah. I listened to the individual in the last couple press conferences, and he's nothing more than an apologist for the government. He's not a trade union leader. He is an apologist on behalf of the government. The government is listen, if he does a press conference, and I even watched today, you're going to hear the government is trying, and this government is trying their best, and there are people within the system. I am positive that is what was said in the interview today or press conference or whatever it was. I am positive that is what said. He's nothing more than an apologist on behalf of the government. Yeah? He should very well just go to NDC headquarters, apply, and take out his membership card. You should go and do it. Don't be afraid. Put on your NDC t-shirt too. Because everybody knows where you stand. You're nothing more than an apologist for the present administration. Sue me on that. Yeah, only want to sue? Sue on that. Go in NDC headquarters and go and take out your membership. I always tell all you, Mayday is one day, I had 364 others in the year to deal with all you. Call my name Mayday again. I ain't afraid of you. We have a call online. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Brother Sheldon. Good evening, Grenada, Talking Points family. Listen, Brother Sheldon. Currently, at this time as we speak, there should be some diffusing tactics by the government of Grenada with regards to this violent situation that is raising its head. Now, when Dr. Mitchell, sometime last year, dealt with the violence, dealt with what was happening, and he advised the government to seek assistance, seek some assistance from other region, intelligence, and so on. The authority came down on him, and you could hear them in the parliament, the House of Parliament, and you can hear them elsewhere lashing out on Dr. Mitchell, as if this
Hello?
man who has,
okay.
Hey.
You go ahead, caller. Yeah, you went off for a second there, but go ahead, yeah.
Yes, a man who has carried Grenada from serious crisis, to 2022 for the election. Now what we can see coming from that is that the violence that we are experiencing now, it could be as a result of the delay in the execution of judgment against the evildoers, those who have done evil, and went to court, and then you have the brain people defending, and that's the job really, and these persons are not being rehabilitated and so forth. Now all the guns and all of that, Dr. Mitchell spoke about that too, and he warned them about it. What did the Prime Minister say? You see, all that he's saying that doesn't fall on him, but everything rises and falls on leaders. He's the Minister of National Security, not his cabinet. Him as the individual person is the head authority of the security of our country. Now, has he been, has he gone to the yachters, as you said, the yachting industry, the yachting community, and empathize with them? Has he shown his empathy? Has he give his voice, on what is going on and how we could detour, how we could take care of the community? The people need to hear our leader. They need to hear the authority. Brother, we are in a serious situation. What the Word of God said, where there is no vision, the people perish. And I believe that we are heading for the downward trajectory. We heading down. But still, I agree with you when you said that Grenada is the most peaceful island or country in the entire world. Yes, globally speaking, I believe we are a good rate of peacefulness. But we need the government, we need the authority to wake up quickly and give their voice. Acknowledge the problem. There's a problem. They need to acknowledge the problem. And one of the biggest problem is the socio-economic situation in our country, where jobs have been taken away from people, sent home because of politics. They are proof of that, because you support a political party and this government comes into office, they would send them home and etc. using the escape tactic, the escape technique that they are 60 years old now, And then where's Mr. Forrester? Where is his voice? I haven't heard him. He's the PRO, whether it's the government.
He's not a PR. He's not a PRO since the tongue lashing he get the last time he get quiet, man. I don't know what happened to my partner.
But where is he? But still, I mean, even though he's that PRO, but he could say something because he's been very adamant. He's very upfront about all that is going on in this country. Yeah. So my brother, I would give it up here. But we as Grenadians, we need to recognize that as we go forward, we need to be very careful about what we are saying. We have to correctly assess the situation and be aware that what we say could hurt family members, because remember, they are human beings, regardless those are involved in the thing, So we have to be very patient with what's going on. We had to have some patience. Hats off to the forces, they did a good job today. I witnessed that. I look at it on the video and they handle themselves properly. Thank you, brother. Grenada, have a good night.
All right, thank you. And my good friend Antonito made a very important point. And I'm not sure if in the back and forth between me and him that some of you lost it. But he made a very, very important point. And that point is in relation to the unarresting of an individual by civilians. That can't be allowed to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, children all, when you see the Royal Grenada Police Force doing their work, leave the police force to do their work. There's a thing that I learned years ago when I started working called comply, then complain. The captain say we going, so is so we going. Comply and then complain. Those of you who were previously attached to a particular secondary school in the St. George area would recognize that statement as well. Comply, then complain. Yeah? So if you see the police conducting their duties, there should be no circumstance or situation where civilians jump in the middle and unarrest an individual. We have a call online. Good night.
Yeah, Brother Sheldon, good night. Good night. Very good night to you, sir.
Good night to you, my brother.
This thing is beginning to hit home, Suddenly, I think we are realizing now that good leadership is lacking here in Grenada. And frankly, we are seeing that good leadership is not based on age. One must have experience, knowledge, intelligence, empathy for people. I think that is truly lacking here. We have the leadership here is really, really poor. I think we are missing Dr. Mitchell's expertise. We are we are suffering here. And this thing will have effect for a long, long, long time to come. Grenada will continue going backwards as opposed to going forward. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, thank you. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. My good friend Alan Jones, you know that call me. Zoe, good night. 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get on the inside. If you're in North America, you can call us on 347-329-3101. Don't worry, it counts as a local call. All right, and you can call us on the WhatsApp. Yeah, 440-7377. That's the number to call and get on the inside. Yeah, there is no situation, none, that civilians should go and unarrest an individual. You might be helping to lose a man who might be the one that caused injury or worse to you or to one of your family members. Yeah, you don't know why the police are doing what they are doing. So you're telling me. Let's just use an example. Yeah, let's just use an example. You're telling me if the 3 individuals who escaped from the police station had found themselves in the area that this crowd was in, telling the police you can't do that and want to fight with the police and cussing and so on, that without even knowing who these 3 individuals are, that civilians would get involved and unarrest the 3 individuals? Stay out of police business, because when all you get, where all you're looking for, all you will come and say police brutality. The police, they have their children to go home too. They had a husband and a wife to go home too. They had a parents and the grandparents who depending on them. Let the Royal Grenada Police Force do their work. Some all you want to play gangster and bargain. Yeah? All you doesn't think. All you want to play gangster and bargain. Yeah? Well, all you going to meet to is gangster and bargain, you know. Do not interfere with the work of the Royal Grenada Police Force. Allow them to do their job. Comply, then complain. Yeah? And nobody is saying that they're perfect. They would do things wrong sometimes. Yes, it happens. But there is a process and a procedure to go through when that happens. Again, comply and complain. Alright? Okay. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. And I see somebody saying, I said, no, Grenada is still the best country. We have an inept government. Yeah, we have a government that lacks emotional intelligence. You could imagine, back in the days, Mr. Troy Garvey used to be in charge of public relations on behalf of the Royal Grenada Police Force. Something like this happened. I could tell you that by now, there would have been properly formatted releases that would have gone out. You would have had a press conference in relation to the issue. Yeah, so everybody, by tonight, in the state of Grenada, would know exactly what has happened, that the police are on top of the matter. They would know everything. Yeah? They would know if anybody was arrested. They would know all of these things. Because in the absence of this information, look, last night, I could confirm, I could tell you it's a fact. There were gunshots on the Carriacou again last night. I ain't asked, there were gunshots on the Carriacou last night again. Yeah? And folks, this is Grenada. We still ain't reached the level of some of them other countries where here for the year they already reached 10 and 11 murders. And I'm talking about some of the countries in the OECS. I ain't looking down south to Trinidad. Me even want to hear, I sure they passed the number of days in the year already with murders down there. And me ain't going further up to Jamaica and them places there. But just within the OECS, there are already countries that have X amount of murders for the year in the OECS. So we're not as bad as them. But they started off how things are happening here. That's how it started off in Trinidad in the 1990s. That you had a murder here and you had a kidnapping there. It started off like that until the Trinidadian people became desensitized to that sort of behavior. So when the murders move from 30 to 40 to 100 to 200 to 300 to 400, they got desensitized. When a murder happened in the 1990s, that was front page news. That's first thing in the television news, one television station, but first thing in the news and the radio, that was first thing. Now, you have murders taking place in Trinidad that don't make the news. They find a dead man in a car, bullet wounds. Yeah, bother to talk about that on the news. Yeah. Or it get a 5 seconds mention. An individual was found dead in a car in this area and they gone to our next story. Because they have become desensitized. There's still not that factor that we cannot allow our country to go down that road. And you've seen examples of countries that go down that road. Yeah? Well, I'm hearing Trinidad reached 71 for the year so far. 71. Yeah? We want to get like that? We have to deal with the issue now. You have competent people. You have the competent people within the Royal Grenada Police Force to deal with these issues. You have them. But due to the treatment and due to the political things that are taking place within the police force right now, you cannot effectively use them. We have a call online.
Hi, good night, Sheldon.
Hi, good night. Go right ahead.
Yeah, Sheldon, you see this candle they've been lighting on election time? Now, my great-grandmother, she dead and gone. And I was a little girl. I am 70 going on 71 now. And I have that in my head. She said, when you're lighting candle, you must light candle for a reason. And they've been lighting candle, and they've been saying all kind of lies about Dr. Kit, about he going Haiti and do what and what and what. And I think they light in Red Gate, they light on the beach in Grenada, I think they light up in St. David way and way. And they should know what they're lighting it for. And I believe that is a cost on us in Grenada. Too many things are happening now. Too many things are happening, and like you won't have no end, because to me it's a cost that they bring on the country. Right? Thank you, Sheldon.
All right. And caller, please, 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 because I'm going to have to terminate some calls if that happens again. When you call, I am not supposed to hear the program in the background. If I continue to hear that, I will have to terminate the call, because it throws me off when I'm trying to listen to what you're saying, and then you're hearing yourself, because you're human. Your brain operates that way. You're hearing yourself speaking in the background. Yeah? Yeah. That's what you're hearing, certain things in the background. It kind of throws you off. So please just remember, please to take the volume off in the background. All right, 440-7377. That's 440-7377. And let me say this though. I expect to hear our religious leaders coming out, condemning some of the stuff that has been taking place. Well, all of the stuff that has been taking place. Hearing our religious leaders coming out and talking about these things. Because many of them, they were very busy under the time of the New National Party, and it wasn't this kind of thing taking place. But they were very busy under the time of the New National Party. We need to hear you now. Yeah? When Sunday comes, we need to hear you have a special prayer for the nation. That's why I begun. Somebody quite in New York tell me to say, Sheldon, start the program with that tune today. That wasn't my idea. Somebody quite in New York messaged me to say, start the program with that song. Yeah, I know it's going to give me a strike, but I play it still. Yeah? So we need to ensure that on Sunday in your churches, just a suggestion, yeah, I'm the least of the apostles to tell you anything about what to do in your church. But I would think that if you truly care about your nation, that there will be prayers within your church. I would think that you would ensure that your youth ministry is strengthened, because, and we'll play it in a short while again for you, the message by Dr. Mitchell, because there's some very important components to what he said. This is not just about stopping the guns. Stopping the guns is one thing. Yeah? Even if you stop all the guns, fellas are knife, fellas are cutlass, fellas are different things too. So even if you stop all the guns, which is important to do, because of course you're speaking about range and the ability to kill, damage or maim a number of people in a shorter period of time than somebody that might have a knife or a cutlass, but working on the mentality of the individuals that would pick up any of these items and attempt to harm somebody else. Yeah? So there needs to be proper spiritual development, and I've never been involved in a youth program under people like Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, Honorable Emlyn Pierre, and so on. I've never been involved in a youth program with these individuals, and they have left out a spiritual component. There always has to be a spiritual component. So we hope that the churches, we hope that you all are strengthening your youth ministry and outreach. Some of the areas that you're having these problems in, we hope to see you all coming out, getting together and coming out and going into those areas. Not just to stand up in the road and pray, and to say that you was there and take a two picture and leave, but interact with the young men and ladies in these areas and have a conversation with them. You might be surprised at the outcomes. Yeah? There are other things that need to be done. So there's the institutional strengthening. There's the institutional strengthening where you work on the different aspects in relation to stopping the guns and so coming into the country and these sort of things taking place. But there are other aspects as well. What about the young ones that are coming up right now? Yeah? The preteens and the teens that are coming up right now and looking up to the individuals involved in these crimes and so as heroes that are listening to the music that's pushing that type of lifestyle. Even if they're not getting it on the radio, because a lot of our radio stations are being sensible and not pushing that type of music. Some are not, but many are. That they can easily get it within seconds online. Yeah? Easily get it in seconds online. So we have to have a proper program where we work with our young people. The Ministry of Youth is no longer the Ministry of Youth. Now it's the Division of Youth. They break it down from a full ministry to just a department. They ain't care about that. There's a department attached somewhere. Yeah, they ain't care about that again. They care about youth when it's to win a general election. They well care about youth then. They care about the youth. The youth. They care about them then. But when it comes time to do the work, to develop our young people, nothing. They downgrade it from a ministry now to a department, not even a department and a division. Yeah, that is where we reach right now. Let me play Dr. Mitchell's message again for those of you that are just joining us.
In moments like these, when the shadow of crime, and in particular gun violence, stretches across our beautiful Grenada, the call for strong leadership echoes louder than ever. It is a call that demands more than just attention. It requires action, empathy, and a steadfast commitment to the values that bind us as a community and a nation. In the gentlest of terms, the silence from our current leaders in the face of a growing wave of violence is worrying. The distressing events that have unfolded in our communities recently serve as a reminder of the crucial need for thoughtful, proactive leadership. This situation is bigger than merely addressing the influx of illegal firearms. It touches on a deeper, more profound understanding that at the core of the managing of the affairs of our country lies the important duty to safeguard the people of our land. Our approach in government should be rooted in the understanding that security is the bedrock of freedom. By securing our borders more effectively, investing in a robust Coast Guard, and more screening at our ports, we could address the issue of gun importation head on, as we have done before. Furthermore, the promotion of police officers based on merit and competence, a policy championed during our time in office, should not be ignored at this time. It should be strengthened, followed, and improved where needed. This is not only necessary to boost morale, it is also about ensuring that our law enforcement is equipped both in skill and spirit to face these challenges. But beyond these measures, we must also turn our attention to the broader picture, engaging our communities directly in the fight against violence, strengthening our legal frameworks to deter criminal activities, and providing our youth with viable alternatives to violence are critical steps. These are not mere policy points, they are beacons of hope that can guide us towards a safer and more peaceful Grenada. The urgency of now demands that we come together to forge a future where every Grenadian can live without fear. It also demands strong and decisive leadership at the helm of our national security. This is our moment to act, to reaffirm our commitment to peace, security, and the enduring values that define us as a people.
Yes, indeed, folks. And we have a caller on the line. Let me go to the phone line. Hello, good night.
Hello, sheldon.
Good night to you, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. How are you, sir?
Good evening.
Good evening to you, sir. Wonderful to hear you.
Well, you know, it's the first time I've ever called into your program.
Yes. We do Zoom, but first call.
We've had an opportunity to speak and as a special guest, but not calling in directly. But clearly, the present situation facing our country requires for all of us doing things that are not necessarily normal actions. This situation the security of the country is worrying to all. And what everyone must understand, that the security of the country should concern every citizen. It doesn't matter what religious association that you're part of, whatever business activity, whatever political feelings or views, security is paramount for everybody. And that's why when the country appears to be descending into these violent activities, it must be worrying to all of us. And just the condemnation by itself is not sufficient. We have to deal with the problem and work together as a nation, the people, to understand why these things are happening now and to confront it and solve it. And certainly I believe all of us should put ourselves and make ourselves available to deal with this problem because it's something that can affect every single family, every person in this country. So I'm calling tonight just to indicate our party in government, when we were in government, of course, were concerned that every incident of security problem worried us, and we had always felt we had to take proactive actions to solve this. So I'm hoping that this would just raise the concerns of every sector of the society. In fact, as you will remember, Sheldon, in the past, whenever we had problems in government like this, nothing happened to the extent like this, but when we have any problem, we were able to calling all the social partners, churches, the business community, political organizations, everybody, because this requires urgent national action, and we were able to come up with ideas and solutions to deal with the problem and bring our citizens together. And that's, to me, is the way forward at this particular time, and therefore I just want to, I'm calling this tonight to express my concern, and also the fact that we are interested in helping whatever way we can to calm the situation and to take proactive action to make people understand that this is not Grenada. This is not Grenada. And what worries me, and the international news tonight, Grenada's name for this horrific murders that took place is in news, and that must concern every single person, because these innocent people came here to enjoy themselves, and to have to be murdered in this manner is frightening to everybody. So I'm worried. I'm concerned as a person and as someone who has held the office of Minister of National Security for several years. And so I'm making sure that everyone understands that we are concerned and we are prepared to do everything possible to help. But one major concern to me, and I've been talking about it for a while, the attempt of creating division within the police force is frightening. The actions of demoralizing many members of the police force and promoting people on the basis of partisan political interests is frightening. Not giving those who are working and providing support and security to the country their due is certainly hurting the country's security. So I hope and pray that those in authority would understand that these actions have caused some of the problems that we're facing, and we should put a stop to this and come together as a nation to deal with this problem and to make our people feel safer than they've ever been. So that's my call tonight. Whatever I can do, whatever the new National Party can do, we are prepared to come forward and do our part.
Thank you so very much, Doc. And you have a wonderful night tonight, sir.
But I think your call on citizens to remember that this is our country and this security situation is certainly a very patriotic act, and I think you need a lot of compliment for taking this on your program tonight as a major issue of concern. That's the reason I'm calling, and that I've never done that before, and I thought it's important for me to do so.
All right.
Take care and all the best.
Thank you so very much, Doc.
Good
Have a wonderful night.
Bye-bye.
Yes, indeed. Folks, so you hear what a leader sounds like. Clear, concise, to the point. We are yet to hear from other folks, but you hear what a leader sounds like. Yeah? Dr. Mitchell has not said that, okay, he's opposition leader and therefore he abdicates responsibility to speak on behalf of the people of Grenada. He continues to be the voice out there advocating action in relation to these issues. So you heard the statement that he made earlier, and you've just heard from him directly. And folks, yes, the phone lines are open. 440-7377, 347-329-3101. You've heard from him directly now, live. And that shows you just how important an issue this is. Folks, remember, we live in Grenada. This is Grenada, you know. This is Grenada. We've just celebrated 50 years as an independent country. We've been through a lot. We've been through a lot. We've been through it together. We've survived it together. And we can deal with this issue. We can deal with this issue if we all join hands and work together. We have a caller online. Hello, good night. 93101. Caller, remember to lower the volume in the background. Hello. Caller, you're live. Just remember to lower the volume in the background. Go right ahead.
The volume is low.
Okay, go right ahead.
I just want to compliment the Prime Minister, the opposition, Dr. Honorable Kate Pritchard.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, go right ahead.
And that is what leadership is about. He's not in office, but you see, take the opportunity to actually to compliment Brother Scott and to take part in what is going on because he's a concerned citizen. And that's what you call patriot. That's what you call leadership. I don't want to add more to it, but I think that we have as we say, we have a big problem in our leadership and national security. When you are in charge of national security in sweet Grenada, you have to at least let your people, Grenada, Carriacou, and Peter Martin, let them know that you control, you have them safe. Then we have our people come to enjoy our beautiful island. You know, we have foreigners from still in the pen, and we have the tourist seasons on. So, you know, we got to make it safe for these people. And this is where just hearing our past leader, well, the man is a veteran, the man is a leader, and there's nobody can do it better than him. That alone would give the people a little bit of assurance. I thank you, rest my case, and you have a beautiful night. Brother Scott, you continue doing the job that you're doing. God bless you.
All right. Thank you so very much, caller. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Let's hear from you. Yeah, let's hear from you. You know, one of the things that I learned over the years from Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, former Prime Minister, former Minister of National Security. Remember that, huh? Former Prime Minister, former Minister of National Security. One of the things I learned over the years from him and from the Honorable Emlyn Pierre, working along with these two individuals, they taught me, the student. One of the things that I've learned is when something goes wrong, the first person to check is yourself. Did I do what I was supposed to do? So 3 prisoners escaped from a facility. You don't go and blame the staff at the facility. You start checking yourself. Was I told that there's a problem with the cell? Did I address the problem that existed that I was told about by the staff? Did I ensure that the staff were properly provisioned to deal with the situation, seeing that the holding cell was not properly working? Was the problem with me? Did I not give something that I'm supposed to give? Did I not provide something I was supposed to provide? Was I not clear in what the staff was supposed to do? Did I have a clear procedure that the staff is supposed to follow? Was I clear in my communication of that to them? It's not just you get up and you just say, well, let me suspend the staff, because I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to do. Let me suspend the staff and let me do it. No. The approach I was taught is that you check with yourself first. What did I not do that I was supposed to do, or do that I should not do? And then the next stage that you reach to is not who do we punish, but how do we fix the problem? Because the problem still exists. How do we fix that problem? What do we need to do to fix that problem? And how can we do that safely, properly, within the shortest space of time? Yeah? So you don't just come out and you start to blame, well, them 3 officers or 4 officers or whoever was there, they need to be suspended or fired, or you need to charge them. No. Did you do what you were supposed to do? Were you informed that there was a problem at the facility? We're speaking here to the present Minister of National Security and the Security Advisor and the leadership of the Royal Grenada Police Force. Were you advised that there was a problem? Did you try your very best, all within your power and even some of it out of it, to ensure that that problem was addressed? Because not only the lives of the general public were in danger, but the lives of the police officers that were at that facility were in danger as well. So that is the way that that leaders look at issues. But then you hear this one suspended and that one suspended and all this kind of thing, and they get rid of this one and they get rid of that one. All sorts of nonsense you might end up hearing. You start with yourself and you work from yourself down to find out what the real problem is and how you fix the problem. That is how leaders operate. That is how I know Dr. Mitchell operates. That is how I know the NNP team operates. I worked with the Honorable Emlyn Pierre between 2005 and 2008. And I've worked with Dr. Mitchell for many, many, many years. And his approach to problem solving has always been effective. That is why when Grenada has faced many of its most challenging times, he was able to guide us out of it. This year, 20 years since Hurricane Ivan, 20 years this year, September 7th, is going to make it 20 years since Hurricane Ivan leveled parts of this country and damaged, seriously, other parts of this country. Yeah? And yet still look where we are right now. Yeah? When there were challenges and people say, you can't go and put a cruise ship terminal in town because you're going to flood out Grenada and different things. Yeah? All of those challenges, and you see where we are now. Right? We have a caller online. Good evening.
Good night, Sheldon. How are you?
I'm quite fine. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Buffalo in the house, kayak background. I
Buffalo.
just want to say that is a leader talk. Yeah, that was nice that Dr. Mitchell come out speak. It's surprising that he come out. That to shows how the country is very important to him. We are all important. Keep the country safe. Keep the foot going. Lucky in North Carolina, Faith Lynn, Teacher Paya. Oh, am I loving Godfather Joseph John back there in Carriacou, and Anne Marie. Hello, hello, hello. All you take care. Sheldon, take care.
Thank you so very much, my dear. All right, folks. Buffalo in the house. Yes, our overseas or diaspora listeners. And we say a special good night to each and every one of you. I think some of you are still there in tears. 440, yeah, I'll call 440-7377, 347-329-3101. Yeah? Yeah, somebody says, Mr. Scott, firstly, a leader cannot actively and effectively lead by only visiting Grenada for just a few days. He does not live in Grenada. Well, when we started to speak about it, not me and all of us, we started to speak about the fact that like Grenada was being run from Dubai. All of a sudden you stop here. We don't know if they're still going Dubai, but you stop here that they're going in Dubai. Yeah? Because every time they was on plane. But we have issues now that we need to hear from them on. Again, they need to fire the Minister of National Security. They are not effective. Yeah? Grenada saw a serious spike last year in certain types of criminal activity, including in relation to firearms. A serious spike in relation to that last year. And the approach, in fact, in any reasonable discussion and country, the minister would have been fired on that day for making the statement, well, it happened in another country. When speaking about gun crime, it happened in another country, so we know it would have come here. In any other country, you'd have been fired on the spot. We have a caller on the line. Good evening.
Yeah, Sheldon, brother. Good evening. How are you?
I'm quite fine, my brother. You go right ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I know some time ago I called and I did say on this program how concerned I am about this country and how, frightening I see the direction that the country is going down. And, it's because though it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I'm very concerned with what is happening. And I feel very saddened and even ashamed, So, the recent happenings, particularly with the people on the yacht, and of course we have citizens here and we deserve as much protection as well, but the visitors who had to experience what they experienced today. And I want to concur with you and let people abroad know that this is not who we are. And let us treat these things still as isolated incidents, because judging from the calls tonight, you'd see that the majority of Grenadians are very concerned, very incensed, and speaking out against it is a clear indication that, we don't condone such things. But my problem is with the authorities, the people who lead us, and I'm calling on the Prime Minister to walk back that arrogant and idiotic and irresponsible statement he made in the Parliament of the people by saying it's just a matter of time and that the guns would be here and what he could do for that, and it's not his responsibility. In effect, that's what he's saying. I'm asking him to withdraw that and even apologize to the people of Grenada for such a statement. Because, Sheldon, today I was just thinking, let's say there is a danger facing you or impending danger. Is there a bad dog or something? He'll attack you. I think common sense alone would tell that you need to take some sort of precaution to prevent that dog from attacking you. A stone, a stick, or some sort of a thing. But to sit back and say, well, you go bite me already, so there's nothing I can do. And this, in effect, is what the Prime Minister has been saying. The other thing I want to say, yes, I was in St. Andrews, Grenville, and I met a lady, an old lady. I haven't seen her in a long time, And I greeted her, and she said, and I said, give me a love up, and we hugged and thing. And she said, oh God, I'm so happy to see you. I don't know who you support now. I don't know. I think you're working with the government, and I'm but discipline I'm wicked, yes. And the lady started to tell me about how the seed program that she was on, that was cut, and she has eye problem, and she used to be able to, with the money she get buy medication, 2 sets of medication not available in the local dispensaries, government-run dispensaries. And now she's reduced to 1 because of the cuts in the amount she used to get. And I watched that old lady have to be led through Grenville. Look, I haven't seen her in a long time, and incidentally, I passed about 3 times in Grenville yesterday, being led from one place to the other. And I'm saying to the Prime Minister and those who made that decision to cut the people's contribution, I don't think God is going to hold the Prime Minister guiltless, or those who formulated that policy, if that lady loses her sight. Because I think it is a very inhumane act they have done to that poor lady. She said she's unable to buy both medications. Her sight is going because as a result of that. And it really pained me to hear her story and to realize that people are suffering so much. Shortly after leaving her, I passed to a business place in Grenville to look for a friend of mine, and they said, she's not here, I said, she's not here? No, because of the minimum wage and things are so dead. Our boss have put us on rotation. So she worked one week in, 1 week out, because they say they can't afford to pay the salaries as it is. So, Sheldon, I tell you, I was so saddened when I heard these stories. Prior to that, I passed in an Indian store, and the man was saying, he said things are so dead, and he also said he made a complaint on the police. He said that there's no police in Grenville in effect because he said he had a number of robberies. He made numerous complaints that came by once, and they claim they're doing follow-up, but there's no back and forth information between him and them. They don't tell him, has not been telling him anything, and the presence is very lacking. And he said in the past, and I was so pleased to hear, he said in the past, in the before this government came in, the police was very visible. He said they'll make spot checks on his business place, walk around, meet the business people, ask how they're going. So people who wanted to look on the outside and make robbery they became aware, and it was a deterrent for them. Sheldon, I am very, very concerned with the state of things in this country. And I'm asking Grenadians to band together, unite as best we can to prevent what we can prevent and to pray for this country. And this is my contribution tonight. And God bless you, Sheldon.
All right. Thank you, and may He bless you as well.
Okay.
4407377. And let me tell you all something. Years ago, there was a strategy that was developed under the new National Party for addressing concerns with youth delinquency and so on. Let me get back to that in a short while. We have a call online. Good evening. Hello?
Good evening, Sheldon.
Hi, good night.
Yes, I live in the diaspora. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to say is that I have learned politics from since I was a little boy with the Hungarian coming. And now what is happening in Grenada? If it has happened in America, Canada, Australia, the leader of the country, wheresoever he or she is, would make it sure to address the people of Grenada, of the country, that they're going to address it and make sure that to make them feel confident. But I see that what is going on in Grenada, like there is no leader. We could go down the drain. We could fall. Wheresoever we are in gala or whatsoever, it does not concern the leader. The leader of country, when there is a problem, wheresoever they're supposed to address it from, and give the people of the country the assurance that they are over it and they're going to take care of it. There are people in the cabinet who is going to address the situation. But right as see now that Grenada is helter-skelter, no life, everything is just, I don't know how to describe it. That's what I want to say, because a true leader, wheresoever it is, would address the problem of his country, wheresoever it is. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, caller. And folks, that caller is so very right. For instance, in the United States, if there's a school shooting, you hear the president, whether it was Obama, even Trump, even Trump, or George Bush, or the present President Biden, there's a school shooting or so, they could be in Germany, they could be in Iceland, wherever they are, they make a statement in relation to what has happened, and they outline a policy of how they think that should be addressed. They may be right, they may be wrong. They outline a policy. This is how we're going to deal with it. If there is a serious racial crime like what took place with George Floyd or any of these things, you hear the leader speak in relation to that issue. Yeah? In the UK, all different countries. Look, my good friend here just mentioned to me, Ralph was all the way in Dubai when they had that set of shooting that took place in St. Vincent. All the way in Dubai. He made sure that he did a message and he sent it back to St. Vincent. Our Prime Minister, missing man. Our Minister of National Security, missing man. Not a word. Grenadians tense. Look what happened today. They worried, they tense. Not a word from the Prime Minister. And, well, I don't want to call them leadership of this country because there's no leadership there. That's not leadership. Yeah? I remember there being issues with young men in the St. George area, particularly the Carriacou area. And you could ask them, don't take my word for it. And young men down in Grenada. And then Senator the Honorable Emlyn P. at that time, very much pregnant. Belly all out here. I don't know if I know Miss Pierre when she pregnant, but when she pregnant, she well pregnant. The belly all out here. The fellas put 3 chairs together for her to sit down on H.A. Blaze Street and have a conversation with them. You know what she did? She spoke to and with them. So she listened to what they had to say and what the she didn't just come there and say, well, all you're doing shopping and all you're doing this and all you're doing that. No, she went there and she listened to what they had to say. And she spoke to them. And she did the same with the young men and ladies. Yeah, girls was involved too. From down in the Grenada area. And brought the two sides together. All confusion, squash. Believe the fellas still friends up to this day. But now you're hearing about other things coming up. What is the strategy? Change it from what we had as a ministry of youth, flagship ministry, all other territories asking. They want your project plans. They want to see how you're doing what you're doing. They want to know how you're doing that. They want to know if you could lend them your staff, if you could lend them your minister. Because they are so excited about what has been taking place with youth development here in Grenada. Where you reach to now? A division of youth. They asked the former minister the other day, they say, brother man, so what you achieved when you was in the ministry? You know the man can't give no achievement? Well, it wasn't surprising to me. But he could not give any achievement that he was able to achieve. And you know, this crime thing, if we don't listen, you have a situation, and I have a permission I could say it. You know what happened to Cammy? Cammy come down in town and doing a business, they break into Cammy house. And they go with all her tin stuff. And so that she got from overseas. And so they break into Cammy house. They broke in. They break in the back. And they go on in Cammy house. When she's not there. When she's in town trying to earn an honest dollar. She ain't robbing nobody. She in town. Even with all her pain that I know she's in. Most likely Cammy might be home and listening now. And she's in so much pain she can't even pick up the phone to call. Or she might be lie down there taking a rest. Because tongue hot, humid, and she's there trying to make a living. Breaking human place. Gone with all her tin stuff and so inside the place. And who knows what else they may have gone with. But breaking human place. Yeah? So there are things that are taking place in this country that we need to address. So while yes, we need to address the guns coming in and all that kind of thing, we need to address the mindset. Because just now when we sing in the song, do you hear? Do you hear the birds are singing? Do you hear? Do you hear the gunshots ringing? And there's no other place. You can't sing. But next thing the song might change to that. So we have to be careful. I hope I didn't get hit with copyright. We have to be careful. We have a caller online.
Well, Scott, good night to the nation.
Good night to you, bro.
I just get up, we have fall asleep.
Yeah,
Turkey. I went and do a surgery this morning.
Oh dear.
And I spent the entire day. But we have something to talk about. Hey,
okay.
I want to say that. Hey?
No problem. I go link you.
All right.
All right, brother. But your day, the surgery went okay?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. And folks, that's brother.
All the best.
All right, my friend. And folks, that's brother Wayne Noel. Remember the account number 211093 at the Nexa, not Ariza, Nexa Credit Union. That's so Mr. Wayne Noel, our good brother Turkey. So he went and he do a surgery today. Me and my partner had to have a little chat. You understand, folks? We're into the final minute. We could probably take one more call. If you call now, we could probably take one more call from you, because I think I ended the same way that I start this evening. I think I ended the same way that I started this evening. I could probably take one more call if you all call right about now. Other than that, I won't be able to take it. Nice. Right? So go in once, go in twice, and here he gone. Folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. And there are many other issues that I really intended to deal with tonight. And I was supposed to have a guest on with me. We're going to switch that to Monday. Obviously, we're going to have the guest on with us on Monday. Let's hope tonight and the weekend. I think they have a vehicle on fire in Grenada. Okay, all right. Yeah, so a vehicle on fire in Grenada. But folks, let's hope that outside of the vehicle on fire in Grenada, and I hope nobody has been hurt in that. I hope everybody's okay, and I hope they have insurance. Folks, outside of that, let's hope and let's pray for our country that nothing else happens, especially over the weekend. And so let's try, and with all the eyes focused on Grenada right now, the eyes of the world focused on Grenada, let's hope nothing else takes place. And let me say this. Let me give one piece of advice to the Royal Grenada Police Force. It may sound kind of horrible, but let me give one piece of advice to them. If someone is believed to be in the ocean, deceased, there's a certain number of days within which you need to find said person that is deceased and in the water. As such, if you need to locate somebody who you believe, or some bodies who you believe have died and are out in the ocean, I think you all should be wise enough to speak to the U.S. Embassy and to get U.S. aircraft to help you all in the search. They may not come to help for Grenadian fishermen out there in the water, but it could be one citizen of the United States. They would come and search for them. And if these individuals have been deceased since Sunday or Monday, whichever it is, you all are within the closing window of having some sort of aerial reconnaissance of the general area where you believe the deceased, possibly deceased, I'm being careful with the language here, possibly deceased to be. And if they are not deceased, all the better. All the more reason to have some aerial reconnaissance in that area. Be wise. Speak to the individuals at the U.S. Embassy and please get aerial surveillance in that area. Right? Thank you all very much. Folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. And whatever you say and do it safe and secure. Want to be speaking to and with you and not about you. Folks, love each and every one of you. Hoping you all have a very safe and enjoyable weekend. And remember, every day you should be doing it, but especially on Sunday as we congregate for that reason, a special prayer for our nation, Grenada. I am out. Oops, wrong one. Let's get this one.